Okay, today we're going to hear the story of Jesus' first miracle. We've already heard about how Jesus was baptized by his cousin John, how he went into the desert and was tempted for 40 days by Satan, and how he chose his 12 disciples, and how he met Peter and James and John and Andrew and Matthew and several of the disciples. Now today we're going to hear about his first miracle. Now, Jesus and his 12 disciples were invited to go to a wedding in Cana. They traveled from Galilee up to Cana, and in that time, because travel is a big deal, weddings were an even bigger deal. So people would go to the wedding, and the wedding would last for several days.
Wow.
And the people hosting the wedding, the groom's family, would have food for all of the guests, and they'd serve wine and things like that. And it was considered a very big deal if you ran out of food or drink, because it was considered that the host was not a good host. Now, so there they are at the party, and they're having a lot of fun. And Jesus' mother Mary comes up to him. She says, "I've just been informed that they have run out of wine." And Jesus looks at his mom and he says, "Woman." Now in that time, woman is a term of respect. It'd be kind of like saying ma'am now. And he said, "Woman, why are you telling me? It is not yet my time." Because he wasn't planning to start his big public ministry yet. So he told her it wasn't time yet. But she went to the people who were hosting the wedding. She went to the person in charge, and she went to the servants, and she pulled them over, and she said, "Do whatever he tells you to do." So Jesus said, "Okay." Because one of the things is Jesus is the perfect Son of God, and in the Bible it says to respect your parents, right? So he's showing respect for his mom by doing what she's asked him. So he tells the servants to gather as many jars as they could find. And what they did is they brought all their jars. And at that time, their jars are big. They're not talking like this kind of jar here. If you're getting water from a well, you want a big jar so that you don't have to go lots of times. And these jars would hold like 30 gallons of water sometimes.
Wow.
Think about how big a gallon of milk is. That's a lot. So he told them to get as many jars as they could find and fill them with water. And they did. And he went to them and he found them. And when they brought him, he said, "Take those jars and take them to the person who's in charge." And when the man went to it, that water had turned to wine. And he took the wine and he tasted it. And he said, "This is the best wine I've ever had." People usually serve their best wine at the very beginning when people are just starting to get there and they're tired. But you did the opposite. You saved the best for last. And one of the great things about this miracle is it shows us that Jesus cares about even the little things. It's not just the, "Oh, hey, I'm dying of disease." He cares about someone being embarrassed because they ran out of wine for their party. And so when you have a prayer request and you start to go, "Oh God, I'm really worried about this one thing," and someone tells you, "Why would you pray to God about that? It's just a small thing." Remember the story of water to wine and how Jesus cared about someone being embarrassed. That's the end.
Did you actually turn that into wine?